It's 2:19 p.m. in the South China Sea. The sky is clear, the sea flat and shining like steel. Then, on the radar of the USS Roosevelt, a tiny speck appears, fast, low, and headed straight toward the ship's patrol lane near the Spratly Islands. At first, it looks harmless, maybe a local fishing craft or a supply run between reefs. But as the seconds pass, the contact grows faster, sharper, and oddly deliberate. It's not drifting, it's hunting. The operator's voice breaks the calm. Unknown contact bearing 180, speed 40 knots. That's fast, too fast for a civilian vessel. The bridge crew tightens. No one says it out loud, but everyone's thinking the same thing. This sea has seen too many close calls lately, shadowing coast guards, buzzing drones, even mock collisions. And now, one small boat is about to add another chapter. The first call goes out in English, then Mandarin. No answer. The U.S. Navy uses the International Distress Channel next. Still silence. Through binoculars, the crew spots 4 figures on deck. No flag, no registration, just men in life vests and caps pulled low, faces hidden behind the glare. One of them is handling something metallic, long, tubular, maybe a fishing tool, or maybe not. On the Roosevelt's deck, the 25mm cannon rotates quietly, locking into position. The order is clear: warn, observe, and be ready. But before another word can be sent, the boat makes its move. It changes course, directly toward the destroyer. The engines scream, slicing white foam through blue water. It's heading straight for a U.S. warship. Inside the Combat Information Center, the room falls into silence. Every heartbeat sounds like thunder. "What's the play if they ram?" one sailor whispers. The captain doesn't look up. "We don't assume, we verify." The ship's helicopter is already airborne, its infrared camera locked on the small vessel. From above, the pilot can see everything: the open deck, the flickering heat signatures, the erratic movement. Then, suddenly, a burst of white. A single flash tears through the stern of the small boat, followed by a bloom of fire and smoke. No incoming missile, no return fire, just a violent internal detonation. In seconds, the craft vanishes into the sea, nothing left but scattered debris and a wall of smoke. The crew braces, expecting a second strike that never comes. And then, quiet, broken only by the hum of engines and the crackle of the radio. No one celebrates. No one speaks. Because deep down, everyone knows. Something about that blast doesn't feel right. Within minutes, the helicopter circles back, scanning the wreckage. The water burns with fuel, bits of fiberglass bobbing on the surface. No movement, no survivors, just a faint trail of oil stretching toward the horizon. The images are transmitted instantly to Fleet Command. The Pentagon releases a short statement. A hostile vessel exhibiting aggressive maneuvers was neutralized in accordance with international law. But on board the Roosevelt, the story doesn't fit. Replayed infrared footage shows no projectile leaving the destroyer. The explosion clearly originated inside the smaller craft. That means it either carried volatile cargo or something went catastrophically wrong. Hours later, divers recover the first identifiable piece of debris, a dented metal drum, its label half-burned but still readable, 3 letters stenciled in black paint, CNO. To anyone familiar with the region, those letters suggest China National Offshore. If that's true, the Navy might have just blown up a civilian fuel runner. By nightfall, the story has already broken worldwide. Beijing calls it a provocation and an attack on Chinese civilians. State TV plays the explosion on repeat, framing it as proof of U.S. aggression. Washington holds the line, saying the strike was a defensive action against a fast-approaching vessel, ignoring multiple warnings. Both sides are technically correct, and that's the danger. Because this wasn't just an accident. It happened in a place where neither side agrees who owns the water beneath the hull. Diplomats call it a gray zone, sailors call it a powder keg. And now the fuse is lit. Within 24 hours, China dispatches patrol ships to secure the area. U.S. vessels hold position under new orders. Observe, but don't engage. The message from both sides is clear. No one blinks first. Satellite imagery released days later deepens the mystery. Analysts see no signs of gunfire or missile wakes, just a single heat flare, consistent with an internal blast. And yet, U.S. officials still classify the incident as hostile intent. Privately, some Navy officers admit what the public can't hear, that the crew on deck had caught a glimpse of one man waving his arms just before the explosion. Was it a threat signal or a distress call? The image isn't clear enough to say. But if it was distress, if that boat was trying to surrender, not strike, then what happened off those reefs wasn't a victory. It was a tragedy. And the drum marked CNO? Beijing later claims it belonged to a civilian energy supplier delivering fuel to fishermen. The US neither confirms nor denies. The world is left guessing, and that guessing becomes the real weapon. By the end of the week, the wreckage is gone, swept away by current and time, but the echoes remain. In Washington, officials insist the Navy acted lawfully. In Beijing, news anchors call it murder. Between them lies the truth, small, fragile, and politically inconvenient. Because this is the new battlefield, not open war, but a fog of half-rules and split-second decisions. A sea where a fishing boat might be a spy ship, and a warning flare might look like an attack. One wrong assumption, one misread radar ping, and suddenly, the world is holding its breath. So the question stands. Did the US stop a threat or destroy the WR? On boat? And when both sides call the same explosion defense, how close are we to a spark that nobody can put out? You decide. If you found this story compelling, hit like, drop your thoughts below, and subscribe for more deep dive breakdowns of real-world incidents that almost changed history. Because sometimes, the biggest wars start with the smallest blips on a radar.